My name is William Heinrich Gleason, and I am here to discuss an issue most pressing and urgent, and that is of the so-called open science movement, which I strongly urge you to avoid at all costs. It is vile, it is ignorant, and it will inevitably lead to a more educated nation, country, and world. Let that thought rest in your mind for a moment. What is the open science movement, you ask? Allow me to explain and hope I don't vomit all over my suit as I do. It is a movement happening within the science community of making data, resources, and information freely available to anyone who can read. I know, horrible thing. Not only that, it is a movement wherein researchers are encouraged to make their data publicly available to other researchers. Why would anyone want to do that? For if you have made a mistake or fabricated your data, it is your full right and duty to hide that from the world. It also means full transparency as you are reporting your results, which means that if you began with one hypothesis and suddenly found that it was not supported, but instead found another hypothesis that was supported, you are supposed to tell people that your first hypothesis failed. Can you believe it? Honesty, transparency. Pah! What has the world come to? Not only that, but there are those within this circle who will insist that publishing companies do not make money from doing practically nothing. Let me explain something to you. When a scientist performs his research, he writes an article and then submits that article off to an editor. An editor who is, mind you, not paid, as he shouldn't be. He will spend hours upon hours a week answering emails, soliciting reviews for papers, reading articles themselves and making suggestions. All these amount to at least a part-time job, and they do not get paid for it, nor should they. For it is a great privilege to hound reviewer after reviewer after reviewer for not submitting their reviews on time. It is a pleasure to read thousands of articles that are not in your area of expertise nor interest. And it is a great pleasure to tell hopeful scientists who have just submitted a paper to your journal that it sucks and it will not be published. So I ask you, why in the world would we pay these people? So then the editor sends the article out for review to other people who also do not get paid. And these fellow scientists read the article and critique them. Hours of work in and of itself, and a total joy to do. Never mind that these scientist reviewers have careers of their own, children, hobbies, that they must stop. No, they must take time away from these children and hobbies to write these reviews, for after all, it is gobs of fun. Why should we pay them? So the author, without extra pay, has written the article, sent it off to an editor who does not get paid, who then sends it off to reviewers who do not get paid, and then the editor, who again does not get paid, nor should he be, makes a decision about whether the article should be published. And then he sends it off to the publishing company, and that's where the payments begin, as they should be. The publishing company typesetters this for print. And now, thanks to the digital era, this project has become hopelessly complicated. Can you imagine the programs that are out there that automatically convert a Word document into a PDF ready for publishing? Automatically adding the header of the article, automatically adding the logo of the journal. What an atrocity to figure all that out! And then the publishing company then has to send an automated email to its subscribers so people can know that the article has been published. And of course, these publishing companies make thousands of dollars for their efforts, as they should. Many of these executives have dozens of children from dozens of wives. Can you imagine the child support they have to pay? That does not come cheap, mind you. And can you imagine the horror of their children when their daddy tells them they have to sell the yacht with the water slide? No child of an executive of a publishing company should ever live without a yacht and a water slide. And yet, this open science movement says we should cut the middleman out. Can you imagine? Just think for 1 minute. The untold horrors that will happen when science articles are freely accessible to the public, publishing executives don't get paid for doing practically nothing, and people accessing journal articles without the paywall. Let that sink into your minds for a minute. let me be clear on one more thing. All public universities are funded by taxpayer money, which means that the professors who do the research are getting paid by taxpayer money to do their research. And now, when a taxpayer wants to access the research paid by their own tax dollars, they now have to pay additional funds to access the article, which was again funded by their own dollars. So in effect, taxpayers are paying taxes twice for scientific information, as it should be. For after all, the vast majority of taxpayers make too much money. Unless you are a publishing executive with a yacht and a water slide, you have no business keeping your own money. If I have not made myself emphatically clear, let me do so now. Open science is a crime against humanity. It seeks to make scientific information freely available to the public, where anyone can read it. It seeks to educate the masses. It seeks to encourage authors to be completely open and transparent about the ways in which they made conclusions from their data. Shocking, abhorrent, vile, vicious. So please do not consider donating to the open science movement, such as the Open Science Framework. And please do not pester your local representative, asking said local representative to advocate for open science practices. For the moment they do, awareness will be raised. The powers that be will have powers to enact laws that if they do not make open science a requirement, they will at least encourage it. Grotesque! So with that, let me close with my humble request. Please remain in ignorance. Please seek to sustain uneducated opinions. For when we have uneducated opinions, we are easily swayed by tyranny, oppression, ignorance, etc., etc., etc. Thank you for your time. And please consider liking, subscribing, sharing to spread the word. Are you kidding me?